Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. And today, as you probably well know, the time of recording this, we're pretty much just around the corner from the footy season, so we're about 18 days out now. So I'm gonna be doing my 2024 official ladder predictions. So hope you guys enjoy the video. By the way, this is just my opinion, so I guess don't get offended by any of my picks. It's just my opinion and things. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. In 18th position, I have the West Coast Eagles. I guess it doesn't really come as a surprise to any footy fan out there. They're coming off a shocking 2023 performance, obviously winning the wooden spoon, but they just played horrible. Their average losing margin was over 50 points, and that's just horrific for a professional football team. So yeah, they want to get better, they want to improve, but I just don't really see it happening in 2024. They got the number one draft pick from the draft in Harley Reid. He'll do well, I reckon. He will really boost the Eagles to get a couple wins on the board. But you know, I just don't see the Eagles improving this year, especially with their veterans also retiring, with Shannon Hearn, Luke Shuey, those experience. They're losing like a couple hundred games of experience there. So they have a relatively young side this year, the Eagles, but I just don't really see a change in them, really. I think they should. I reckon they'll play a bit better than they did last season, but I just don't see them moving off the bottom of the ladder. So yeah, I have the Eagles in 18th. In 17th, I have the second WA side in the Fremantle Dockers, coming off a very, very hit and miss performance in 2023. You know, coming off the back of the 2022 campaign where they made finals to finish 5th. They had an amazing year, one of their best years in history, and they just had a complete flop in 2023. You know, they were dropping games they really should have won. You know, they were just playing a terrible brand of footy at a lot of the such stages in the season, hence why they finished where they did in 14th. But they pulled off some really, really good wins that a lot of clubs didn't. Like they beat Geelong in Geelong. You know, they got over Geelong again in Perth. But yeah, they had one of the worst home side records in the 2023 season. They just, you know, couldn't get wins there. They just couldn't really win anywhere. They played some good games. They played some bad games. They played hit and miss. But, you know, it's going to hurt them this season because they lost three of their best players. They lost Liam Henry to the Saints. They lost Lockie Schultz to Collingwood. And then they also lost, what's his name? I don't know. I forgot. But yeah, I think they're just going to have another terrible season. It's going to hurt them. The coach, Justin Longmire, doesn't seem to know how to really manage this. It's going to be stressful for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he got sacked, but yeah, I just don't see a great season ahead for Fremantle. They should play some good games, but, you know, I reckon they'll just fall. They'll just fall very, very, very short. And they're going to finish 17th. I reckon. So, yeah, 17th, the Dockers, I reckon. 16th position, an improving side, I'm going to have North Melbourne. Well, North Melbourne came off a still pretty bad 2023 season. They kind of played like West Coast in a sense, but not as bad. They played some horrible games, you know. They played some really, really good games against, you know, the Bombers, where they came really close in the end on those two occasions. I think losing 6 points and 9 points or whatever it was. They came really close to beating some good quality sides. You know, they smashed the Gold Coast in round 24. So yeah, they had a new coach, Alistair Clarkson. You know, he was I reckon he's doing pretty well so far. I see a very bright future for North Melbourne. I can see them make finals in the next 5 years or so, but I don't reckon North will do too much this year. They'll improve. I reckon they'll finish 16th. You know, they're losing some. They've lost. They're coming into the season with some lost experience. You know, Jack Zeeble retiring last season, Ben Cunnington also retiring, and Aaron Hall, and those type of players. So I reckon they're going to improve. You know, Alistair Clarkson seems to know what he's doing here. North Melbourne will improve. I just don't think they'll skyrocket in their second season. So yeah, I'm going to have North Melbourne finishing 16th for 2024. In 15th position, I have Richmond. So coming off a pretty average 2023 campaign, they finished 13th, I believe. They still were up there. They were contending for finals, but you know, they just kind of flopped at the end, losing some pretty bad games. Obviously, with the loss of Damien Hardwick, their 3-time premiership coach, going to the Suns, Yeah, they were coachless. I'm pretty sure for the remainder of the season with an assistant coach coming in for that role. But yeah, now Adam Uze is in the role for the 2024 coach. So yeah, I think Richmond they're rebuilding. They've lost some. They've lost over 1,000 games of experience with um, Jack Rewald, Trent Cotchin, Robbie Tarrant. Those players over 1,000 games of experience lost. I'm pretty sure it is. Um, so yeah, they have a relatively young side. Again, they just need their forwards to fire. If Tom Lynch can play the whole season, I reckon Richmond could finish a lot higher than I think they're going to finish in 15th. So yeah, I reckon Richmond will have a pretty good season, getting some wins over really good sides. But in the end, I reckon they'll have a pretty poor season. Lots to improve. I see the Richmond Tigers getting up and close to a premiership or winning a premiership in the next couple of years, but it's going to take a while for them to rebuild. So yeah, in 15th I have Richmond. In 14th position I have the Geelong Cats. They have a very, very old side. They've they had premiership glory in 2022. I think it's kind of the end of the Geelong kind of ruling, making finals and all that. Yeah, I just think they're going to finish 14th this year purely because of their old side. They have some good young talent in there, but they're older guns that seem to get Geelong over the line each time. Dangerfield, Hawkins, Cameron, they're all expected to retire in the next 3 years or so. So, yeah, I think after those players are gone, they're going to go through a big rebuild. It's going to take a long time for Geelong to get right back up there. So, I think 2022 was their last year of ruling. I them winning the flag. But, it's going to be quite difficult, to stay competitive, Geelong. I reckon early in the season they'll compete for the finals and things. They'll be right up there, but, it's just their old talent. It's just going to let them down. They're just young side, don't have much experience. So I reckon Geelong, unfortunately for them, I think they're going to finish 14th this season. So yeah, Geelong in 14th. 13th position, I have the Western Bulldogs. They've had some really good seasons the last couple of years, obviously. In 2021, making the granny, 2022, making the finals, but then choked the elimination final against the Dockers. So, yeah, the last season, they had a pretty good season with, Bontempelli up there just getting robbed of the Brownlow. So, a lot of people thought that, but, yeah, Bontempelli had a really good season. Coming into the season, they lost Dunkley, that really good player, Dunkley, to the Brisbane Lions. So, yeah, in 2024, I reckon they'll have a season, that they reckon they'll have a decent season, but they'll fall out of the contention of finals, midway through the season. So, in 2023, they really should have made finals. It's just one pure mistake they made, thinking too far ahead of the game. Round 23, they versus the Eagles. They were thinking about Geelong the week prior. So, it was a really poor decision to, just come into the game thinking they're going to win that. You can't underestimate the Eagles that much. I know they can be really, really bad a lot of the time, but you can't just go in there and play and give a substandard effort. You got to really put that in. So, that was a really poor mistake there, losing by 6 or 5 points to the Eagles there, costing them their season. They backed it up really well, beating Geelong for the first time in 2 decades. So it was really good for the Bulldogs, but they fell short due to that mistake. So I reckon that's going to really put a hole in them, the Bulldogs. So yeah, also Luke Beveridge, I kind of expect him to be sacked this year. He hasn't been doing too great of a job. So yeah, in 13th place I have the Bulldogs. In 12th position, I have Essendon. In 2023, they had a quite mediocre season. They started really well. I'm pretty sure they went 4-0 or something like that. They started off really well. They were just beating teams left, right, centre. They were upsetting teams like Melbourne and Adelaide. A lot of people thought Melbourne would have destroyed them and things. And then throughout the season, they kind of just got more inconsistent and worse. They were just dropping games. They won the odd few good ones. They got smashed in them. They recorded a 126-point loss to the Giants in round 23, I think it was, and the next week they lost 70 points to Collingwood. They just finished very poorly. They just couldn't execute wins. They were really good at sometimes. They just weren't able to put that consistency in place and win often as they would want to. They contended for finals. At the end they kind of just dropped off. So yeah, in the trade period, they picked up the likes of Jade Gresham, Todd Goldstein, Jai Simkin, those players, Ben Mackay as well. From the draft. I reckon they'll really help the Bombers, but I reckon they'll just have another season again. I reckon they'll start well, kind of the same as 2024. Brad Scott, he seems to have a plan for the Bombers, but I just don't really see them getting into finals this year. But maybe next year, they have a strong future, the Bombers. I see that in them. So yeah, in 12th spot, I have the Bombers. In 11th position, I have St Kilda. In 2024. They played a much better season than they did the year prior in 2022. The Saints, they started really well like the Bombers did. They didn't drop too many games in the first half of the season. The second half, they kind of dropped off a bit. Played some poor branded footy against like North Melbourne, where they just scraped. Where they played a horrible game at Marvel, very inaccurate. I think it was only a total of 7, 8 goals in that game in total, and it's just inaccuracy. An inaccurate game it was. They got the comfortable win by 30 points though, but they should have won by much more. Same with the next time they versed them, they scraped past them by 9 points, where they really should have put them away much earlier in that game. But the Saints, they made finals, but they really didn't deserve to. They played very disappointing footy. They were a decent team to watch. They just weren't the most exciting. They played some consistent-ish footy. They were able to, sneak in, but I don't really think they deserved to play finals that year. So yeah, in 2024, during the trade period, they picked up Paddy Dow off it, and Liam Henry from the Dockers. The Hurricane Liam Henry will put a boost in their midfield and things. I reckon they'll be able to string some things together, but I think the Saints will just miss out on finals. They'll be in the finals race, but I reckon they'll slip out just due to inconsistency and underperforming and close games. So yeah, in 11th I have St Kilda. In 10th position I have a much better improving side. I have the Gold Coast Suns. With the likes of their new coach of Damien Hardwick, 3-time premiership player from the Tigers. They got them. The Suns in 2023 they had a pretty bad season, ending up in 15th position. Not the worst though. They played some good football. They got some huge upsets, like against the Lions, where they beat them by a good 41 points, I think it was in the end. Obviously, they got thrashed by some teams, like Collingwood. They picked up some really nice wins. They played some really good games. They just were off a lot of the season, So in 2023, the 2024, sorry. I reckon they'll do much better. I reckon they'll finish 10th, their highest ever ladder position. Highest ever ladder position for them is 11th spot. But I reckon they'll finish 10th this season. I see a very, very bright future for the Suns. I reckon they'll win a premiership very, very soon. I reckon they'll win a premiership before 2030. That's my big call, I reckon. I reckon that the Suns, will win a premiership with Damien Hardwick. I just don't think they're ready for finals yet. They just need to try with Damien first to see how how they go, but they'll be close. I reckon they'll have a very big chance to make the finals next year, but I just don't see them making it this year. They'll be contending all year. They'll play some really good football, but I just think they'll just miss out in the end of 10th. For the best season, they'll have the confidence to come in the next year and make finals. So yeah, in 10th spot, I have the Gold Coast Suns. In 9th position, comes as a surprise to people, I reckon. I've got the Hawks. I'm going to reckon they'll have a really good season. In 2023, they had a pretty bad season. What people thought they were going to have, what they were predicting, they finished in 16th. They played some really promising footy. They got huge upsets against like Collingwood, and they came close to beating teams. They got thrashed by a lot of teams. So the Hawks just didn't have a great season. But in 2024, they had literally the best trade period out of any team. They picked up Jack Gunston, returned back to Hawthorn from the Brisbane Lions after a season with them. They're picking up Collingwood's fan favourite, Jack Enerman. It's gonna be really spicy to see that Collingwood and Hawthorn clash. See how Jack Enerman goes. They picked up Marby Chol from the Suns. They picked up couple other players that I forgot about. But, they had a really... they picked up Massimo D'Ambrosio from the Bombers. They had a really good one. They also lost Tyler Brockman to the Eagles. I reckon Hawthorn will have a very good year, though. They'll be a very dangerous side. But they'll just miss out on finals by percentage, I reckon. They'll have one of the best seasons, clearing every team in this path. I reckon they'll have a couple of close losses, but they'll play some really promising football. I reckon the Hawks will be back in premiership contention in the near near future. So Hawthorn have a very bright season ahead of them. They have such a really good forward line with the likes of Mitch Lewis, Jack Gunston back in it, and those type of players. I reckon they can really capitalise on them. I reckon the Hawks will be a very dangerous and threatening team this season. So yeah, ninth position out of the Hawks. I just reckon they'll have a really good season. So yeah, ninth, the Hawks. After the boring stuff, here we go. Moving on to my top 8 predictions. In 8th position, I have the Adelaide Crows. In 2023, as you all know, they were controversially robbed out of the finals by the Sydney Swans after that stupid goal. That goal review, they would have made finals if they won that game, I reckon. So yeah, Adelaide, they had a really, really strong season. They played really well at the Adelaide Oval at home. They had just second behind to the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. Their record, Adelaide, they just played super well at home. They're one of the most exciting teams all year to watch. So yeah, in the 2023 trade period, they lost Tom Doedee, their key defender, one of their best defenders, to the Brisbane Lions. They got Chris Burgess from the Gold Coast Suns. I reckon he'll slide in a nice little forward role for that, like a little backup forward role, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I reckon the Crows will have a standout season again. The likes of Josh Shelley, Tex Walker. Tex is brilliant. He's going to be brilliant for the next couple of years until he retires. So I reckon he's got a couple more years in him. I kind of expect Adelaide to be up there. They'll play well. No, I reckon they'll just drop back, but they'll still make finals. And in the 8th place, I have the Adelaide Crows. In 7th position, I have the Sydney Swans. In 2023, they had a pretty good season, to be honest. They were contending all year. They kind of dropped off a bit at the end, but they managed to slip into finals just controversially. They slipped in. They were 8th place on the ladder. They scraped past Adelaide with that score review thing, that false score review thing. So it was unfortunate for the Crows, but Sydney crept in for that. They went out with an early exit in the finals to Carlton, where they lost by I think it was 5 or 6 points, one of those two. But they did really well. They had a pretty good campaign. Now in the 2023 off-season, the drafts and the pickup and the trade period, they picked up some really good players like the likes of Joel Hamling, Taylor Adams, James Jordan from the Demons, and those type of players. I reckon they can make a really good impact with those players, and I reckon that they can be a really, really strong and dangerous team. But I think they'll fall off a little bit. They'll have some tough losses and things, but they'll come back strong and finish the season well. They end up in 7th. So yeah, the Swans in 7th place. In 6th position, I have the Melbourne Demons. So yeah, they had a pretty strong 2023 season. Playing really good games. Getting ahead of themselves. I'm pretty sure they were in the top 4 for a lot of the season. They ended up finishing top 4 in that in 2023. It's just the main thing that cost them, their finals, their premiership chances and things, where they couldn't finish high, was their goal inaccuracy. They would just continued to score almost at 20 behinds, which is a horrible rate. So yeah, if they can get that fixed, they can improve on their goal kicking and they can get that fixed, I reckon they can finish much higher than 6th place. I reckon they can have a strong top 4 finish. They just need to fix that. In the 2023 trade period, they obviously lost James Jordan, and they with the of Tom Fullerton from the Lions. I reckon he can play an important role in premiership glory for Melbourne in 2024. Yeah, they also lost Brodie Grundy to the Swans. It's gonna be a little bit of a tough season for Melbourne. I reckon they'll finish strong, knowing that they're a really strong club. They have a great team. I reckon Petrarca is right up there for Brownlow. He missed out on the Brownlow, small margins to Bontempelli and Lachie Neale, but he'll definitely be up there. If Clayton Oliver can stop having his if Clayton Oliver can be a good boy, then I guess they can get a bit stronger. If Clayton Oliver can come back into the side and play some football, then I reckon the D's will finish much higher than sixth. So yeah, in sixth place I have Melbourne. In fifth position I have Port Adelaide. Now in 2023 they had a magnificent season. At one point they had 10 wins in a row. It was amazing. They were just smashing teams left, right, centre. They were just playing some really good football with the back of Zach Butter coaches votes award. He won that. Zach Butters, Connor Rosie, they were all just doing their thing, and Port Adelaide just got up, especially after a really poor 2022 campaign. In the finals, they were, unfortunately for them, they exited out of finals in straight sets. They lost to the Lions at the Gabba by over 50 points, I believe it was, and then they lost to the Giants at the Adelaide Oval. In 2023 trade period, they lost Xavier Dersman to the Bombers, but they gained Ivan Soto and Jordan Sweet. I reckon Jordan Sweet can do a really good ruck job if Scott Lycett's not there or whatever the deal is. So Ivan Soto can be a ruck as well, a good forward as well. So they probably can string that stuff together to perform a really good performance. So I reckon they'll just miss out on the top four purely because of other teams making way and things that I think are just better than Port Adelaide. But I reckon they'll have a really strong season. They'll be right up there for the premiership favourites. So in fifth, I have Port Adelaide. In fourth position, to start out the top four, I have the GWS Giants. Now, in 2023, they were expected to do horribly. They were expected to finish anywhere in the bottom four, even the bottom two. But that was not the case. So the biggest dark horses of the season, and GWS finished really well, and they ended up in seventh spot, I believe. Yeah, they played some really good football. They were just they played some really good footy. They were able to get wins up against teams that had some short losses and things. Adam Kingsley has done very well to coach the side after Leon Cameron. They played some good footy. They were agonisingly beaten in the prelim. Honestly, I reckon the Giants should have played the grand final and not the Magpies, to be honest. So yeah, in 2024, I reckon they'll do really well once again, make top four. Off the back of Toby Green, it's a big role to play. Stephen Canelio, if Connor Iden and Isaac Cumming off the back line, I reckon they can do really well. The Giants, I reckon they can go strong into the final series and be in severe contention for the flag. So yeah, GWS a very good chance to win the flag here. So I'm gonna go the Giants in fourth here. In third position, I have Carlton. Now, in 2023, it was a very rollercoastery season for Carlton. They started really well, then they played some of the worst football I've ever seen from a professional football club. They just could not kick a goal to save their life, especially Harry Mackay's horrible goal kicking. It was just not looking well for the Blues after, round 13 or 14, where they were 15th, I think. But then they had a massive surge and climbed back and finished just out of top four in fifth. And they did really well in the final series. Sam Walsh was firing for them, and they managed to get to the prelim before getting eliminated by the Brisbane Lions. And yeah, they just played amazingly well. So yeah, in the 2023 trade period, they got Elijah Hollands from the Gold Coast Suns to join his brother Ollie. I reckon they can be a really good brother duo like Nick Dacos, Josh Taylor. Probably not as good as them, but they can, be really good together. And yeah, they lost Paddy Dow to the Saints, but that shouldn't really stop them. Carlton are just coming in. They just got such a good list. They got the two Twin Towers, Harry Mackay and Charlie Cannon. We'll just have to see how Harry Mackay goes this season. He's kind of like a mystery, really. He just has to improve in his goal kicking. He's just going to be a top forward. The two common medalists at the top of the forward line just look very deadly, especially with the midfield, Sam Walsh, Paddy Cripps. Sam Doherty off the back half flank, and the Carlton just look really dangerous. Jagger Wedding, the list goes on and on and on. Carlton, they are strong premiership contenders. I wouldn't be surprised if they steal a flag this year to equal their 16th flag with Collingwood. So, in 2024, I reckon they'll finish third. They just look like a dangerous side, Carlton. and they're going to be an amazing team to watch this season, I reckon. So yeah, Carlton have in third place. I have Carlton. In second position, just missing out on the minor premier, I have the reigning premiers, Collingwood. Now, 2023, they were the most exciting team to watch, full stop, in the competition. They were just too good. They were just beating teams. They were in thrilling games. Jamie Elliott clutch in that Port Adelaide game in round 19. They were just super good, Collingwood. They were, honestly, people would think they were just going to win the flag full stop this whole season from the start. I kind of did too, but they just deserved it. They did well done, and they beat Brisbane in the grand final after a controversial advantage call, but well done, Collingwood. Still hurts, but yeah, they did really well to win the premiership. They have a very strong chance to go back to back. We're just gonna have to see how they go. I reckon win the premiership. They'll just miss out on minor premiers here. So yeah, Nick Dacos, really good. He's a big opportunity to win the Brownlow medal. But yeah, so I think Collingwood will have a really good year again, like they did last year. They're going to be a very exciting team to watch, especially with the addition of Lachie Schultz from Collingwood, from the Dockers. Sorry, he's going to add a very dangerous thing into the forward line. Jack Ginnivan left their team to go to Hawthorn, but yeah, he didn't have much game time at Collingwood, but yeah, anyway. All in all, I reckon Collingwood are set to have another great season and be exciting again. So wouldn't be surprised if they pinch back-to-back flags, but we'll just have to see how they go. In second place, Collingwood. And that leaves it in first position. Might seem a bit biased here, but I have my Brisbane Lions. The Brisbane Lions, they had really awesome season. Going 13-0 at the Gabba, winning every single game there. They got some really comfortable wins over good teams and things. They went back-to-back 81-point wins against the Tigers and the Eagles. They played some really good games, especially against Collingwood. They beat them, Brisbane beat Collingwood both times this season at the Gabba and at Marvel. So it was really good for the Lions. Obviously, missing out on the minor premiership, finishing second. But, yeah, they played really well. They got into the grand final. They got rid of over their prelim hoodoo that they haven't been able to get in 2022. They lost. They got destroyed by the Cats in the prelim, and it's just a good thing for the Lions to get over that prelim against the Blues. I was there. It was a great game to watch. But yeah, it was really good. We got in the grand final. Fortunately, we lost it to an advantage call, controversial advantage call. But I don't know. Well done to the Magpies winning that one. But yeah, in 2024, I reckon they'll do really well. They have one of their best seasons ever, and I think that grand final loss fuels them, to actually be hungrier than ever to win the flag. So, if they got destroyed, I don't reckon any team could, come back from that like it proved Sydney. Sydney had a mediocre-ish season. In 2022 they finished third, but then they finished seventh, got eliminated after they got demolished by the Cats in the 2022 grand final. But yeah, all in all, I reckon the Brisbane Lions will finish in first position. Lachie Neale obviously coming off a dual Brownlow thing. He won the Brownlow for the second time. He'll be up there again, I reckon. Hugh McCluggage as well. Brisbane just have a really stacked midfield, like McCluggage, Neale, Bailey, all those people, and a really good forward line with Cameron, Rayner, McCarthy, and also the additions of Tom Doedee, Brendan Ryan. I reckon they had a really good, a solid performance back into the lineup, and I reckon Brisbane will be one of the teams to beat, if not the team to beat. So yeah, and first I have the Lions. So yeah, and time for my grand final / premiers prediction of who's going to win the flag. It might seem a bit biased, but I know the Brisbane Lions, as I said in their ladder thing, that the grand final that they lost, that is going to give them fuel to be hungrier than ever to win the grand final. If they can, if they can pull up wins from literally anywhere, if they can get rid of that MCG hoodoo streak, they have a chance to do that against Melbourne in round 5, I think it is, and against Collingwood, they have a game at the MCG against Collingwood later in the season. I reckon they can win the flag. If they just get rid of that, purely what they need to work on is winning away from home games. They got a solid record at Marvel. They play a few of those games there this season. So I reckon the Lions win the flag here. And so yeah, and I reckon it'll be a Brisbane Collingwood grand final again. I think purely these two best sides going back at it again. So yeah, this time hopefully it should be on the Lions side, but I'm gonna go Collingwood and Brisbane. To face off in the grand final. Brisbane the premiers. So yeah, time for the awards. So I'm gonna start off with the Brownlow, and I think the 2024 Brownlow medalist. I'm gonna give it to Nick Dacos. To be honest, he was kind of right. If he didn't get injured in that Hawthorn game, he would have easily won the Brownlow. So if he can stay uninjured this season for Collingwood, then he'll definitely win the Brownlow here. So it's kind of a no-brainer, but Bontempelli is also really up there, so it's kind of cross between, but I've just chosen Dacos for this one. He's just been playing really good since debut in 2021, so it'll be good for him to get a Brownlow medal in his early seasons, and if he can do that, he'll have a really, really strong career ahead of him. Now for my Coleman prediction, for the 2024 Coleman, not Charlie Curnow, surprisingly, not going to be a trio back-to-back. I think it's going to be Joe Daniher from the Brisbane Lions. Daniher was up there last season with the Coleman. He was, I think he finished 5th in the Coleman race, but he's playing really well. If he can get his set shot accuracy up there and strong, then I reckon he'll have a strong season and he can win the Coleman. So yeah, Charlie Curnow would definitely be up there for a back-to-back Colemans. So I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, but I'm gonna go Daniher here. I have a feeling he's gonna win it just purely because I'm pretty sure he was leading goal kicker for the Brisbane Lions last season. So if he can just get his goal accuracy up, I reckon he'll win the Coleman pretty easily. So I'm going to go Daniher for Coleman. Now for my Rising Star Award, 2024 Rising Star comes not really to anyone's surprise. Harley Reid from the West Coast Eagles. He got picked up number 1 draft pick for the West Coast Eagles. So yeah, I reckon he'll help West Coast overcome some of their challenges in this season, which I suspect there would be a lot of those, but I reckon if he can just play some really good footy for them in this first year, he'll easily win the Rising Star. So yeah, Rising Star, go on Harley Reid. So yeah. Anyway guys, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. That'd been a lot to me. Trying to get to, I guess, 50 subscribers by the end of my birthday, which is May. By the end of May would be really good. By the way, these are all my opinions. Everyone has an opinion. So yeah, I guess don't get too offensive. Tell me what yours are in the comments. I'm open up to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. So I'll try and upload weekly tipping videos throughout the season. So yeah, hopefully, have you guys a beautiful day and see you all in the next season.